crush those long-term goals? Well, we've got a deep dive for you today. We've been going through advice from Hasu Hilario and Ray Shen, and let me tell you,
They've got some good stuff.
they really do. We've got Hilario's Medium article. It's all about managing expectations, and finding the time to actually work towards your goals. And then we've got Shen. He's got this piece in Success in Depth that lays out these
Strategies.
yeah, tried and true strategies to help you stay on track.
And that's what it's all about, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's one thing to set the goal, but
It's another to actually do it.
yeah, the sticking with it
Yeah.
is the real challenge.
Okay, so Hilaria, he starts off by talking about this idea of the expectations versus reality trap.
Yeah, have you ever fallen into that?
All the time.
I think we all have at some point.
Oh,
You
that-
have this dream, but then
You forget about all the steps to get there.
yeah, exactly. Hilario actually quotes a psychologist who said that getting stuck in this picture perfect future, it can make us forget about those actual steps, the day-to-day stuff that gets us to that goal.
Right, so the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty work. Yeah.
So it's not about just giving up on big goals then, right? It's about
No, it's about getting real about the process,
yeah.
about understanding. There's going to be bumps in the road. How do we deal with them?
Okay, so
It's like you can't just wish yourself to the top of Mount Everest, right? You need to have the right gear. You need to have a plan. And then you also just need that internal strength to keep going when it gets tough.
yeah, okay, that analogy makes sense. But how do you actually balance that ambition with also not burning out,
Yeah.
I'm all about a vision board, but I need some actual strategies.
Okay, well, this is where Shen comes in. Yeah, he digs into some serious tactics. Automating tasks, optimizing your habits, and building up that discipline muscle. He actually compares it to, and I really like this analogy, riding against the waves.
Oh, okay, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, you're constantly pushing forward.
Even when things get rough.
Exactly. You're going to get knocked down, but you get back up and you keep paddling.
It's not about some massive life overhaul. It's just these small, consistent actions that over time
Add up.
yeah, and get you to where you want to be. I'm already starting to see how these two articles connect.
Yeah, and that connection is what we're going for, right?
Yeah.
Think about the little changes that make the biggest difference. I'm thinking meal prepping for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Seems simple, but you're saving yourself
Yeah, so much time.
so much time and mental energy.
And you're more likely to eat healthy too, probably.
Exactly. What about setting up automatic bill pay?
Ooh, yeah.
It takes 5 minutes to set up, but then you never have to worry about
Late fees.
late fees, the stress.
Yeah,
Those seemingly small things free up.
a lot of mental space.
Yeah, for the things that you actually care about.
So you're aligning your actions with your aspirations, even in the smallest
In
ways.
the smallest ways, yeah.
Okay, this is where it got interesting for me. Hilario suggests ditching social media altogether. He says it fueled comparison and even messed with his relationship goals.
Wow, that's a pretty bold move.
Yeah, a little extreme.
It is.
Yeah.
But how much time do you think you spend just scrolling through feeds?
Oh, a lot. Probably more than I'd like to admit.
Hilario is challenging us to see that time as a resource, right?
Mm.
Could that be time dedicated to something else? Something you actually care about?
I can see where he's coming from, especially with the comparison thing. It's hard not to look at everyone's highlight reels and
And feel bad about yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be all or nothing. You don't have to delete all your accounts, but just being mindful, right?
Yeah.
Setting some boundaries, maybe limiting your time, being selective about who you're following, making sure it's working for you, not the other way around.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So if we're taking back that time that we're spending scrolling, what should we be doing with it instead?
Well, both Hilario and Shen, they talk a lot about tracking progress, but not in a boring check the box kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
They actually, Hilario's girlfriend gave him this advice,
Okay.
which I love. She told him to track your progress, to fall in love with the process.
That's interesting.
It's not about the end goal. It's about enjoying the journey
And all those little wins along the way.
and all the little wins along the way. And then also, if you are tracking, you can see what's working, what's not, and you can adjust.
You can tweak your approach.
Yeah, you can tweak it. It's not about beating yourself up for the mistakes,
It's about learning.
learning from them.
Okay, so you're your own science experiment, but more fun.
Exactly. And speaking of setting yourself up for success, Shen's really big on using visual reminders.
Oh yeah, he talks about keeping those goals front and center, right?
Yeah.
Calendars, motivational quotes,
Vision boards.
progress charts, whatever works for you.
It's all about having that supportive environment, right? Because, let's be honest, life is full of distractions. So having those visual cues to keep you focused on what actually matters.
Yeah, like little nudges from your future self.
Exactly.
Reminding you what you're working toward.
Okay, now for a tough one. Both Hilario and Shen talk about this, and it can be really hard to actually put into
No,
practice.
hit me with it. What is it?
Saying no.
Ugh, yeah, that's the one. It's so easy to say yes to everything.
I know, it's hard. But Shen actually says that trying to accomplish too many things at once can be overwhelming and counterproductive.
So it's about choosing your battles.
It is.
And figuring out what truly deserves your time and energy.
And being okay with letting some things go, even if they seem good on the surface.
Yeah, so it's not about being selfish. It's about being
strategic,
yeah. Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Managing those expectations, making those conscious choices, and being really intentional with your time and your energy.
All connected, right?
It is.
And it all comes back to investing in yourself.
Ooh, okay, tell me more about that.
Well, both Hilario and Shen, and this might surprise you, they both really emphasize prioritizing self-care. But not just as a treat, but as a crucial part of reaching those goals.
I'm so glad they brought that up. It's so easy to get so caught up in the hustle of everything and forget that you can't,
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
You have to take care of yourself first.
So it's not selfish. It's actually essential.
Shen says, think about it. If you're running on empty, you won't be able to give your best to your goals.
That's a good point. I mean, you need to be taking care of yourself both mentally and physically.
To show up for those goals.
Yes. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Managing expectations, finding the time, tracking progress, staying focused, prioritizing self-care. It's like
a toolbox.
Yeah.
For those big goals.
And the bottom part is you don't have to do it all perfectly. It's about finding what works for you and making it part of your life.
So now that we've got the big picture, let's get more practical.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so welcome back. We are ready for part 2 of our deep dive into staying consistent with those long-term goals.
Those big, audacious ones.
We've already gone over some pretty powerful ideas from, Josu Hilario and Ray Shen's articles.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, now we need to explore how we can actually put these insights into action,
I think that's a great point, because it's one thing to understand it, but it's another to really make it happen. Remember how Hilario was talking about, reclaiming that time we all lose to social media?
Yes.
Shen actually gives us some strategies for doing just that.
Okay, I'm ready. Anything that helps me get back control of my time.
I hear that. So one of the things he starts with is the power of automation.
Okay.
Think about the little tasks that eat up your day, but don't really require much brain power.
Yeah.
Things like paying bills or scheduling appointments, or even just that meal prepping.
Oh my gosh, yes. Those are the things I put off until the last minute.
Right, and then they just cause you more stress. Okay, so here's what's great about automation. You set it up once, and then it just runs in the background. Okay, having this little personal assistant working for you behind the scenes.
That would be amazing.
It is. You free up mental space, actual time, to focus on the stuff you care about.
So you're not only saving time, but it's better quality time too.
Exactly. Think about it. By automating the draining tasks, you have more time for deep work, creative thinking, and actually doing the stuff you enjoy.
So you're actually giving yourself the gift of focus instead of feeling scattered all the time.
I like that, a gift of focus. Okay, let's talk about habits now. He talks about optimizing your habits.
Okay.
Like figuring out which ones are helping you reach your goals and which ones are actually getting in the way.
Okay, sounds good. But we all know that changing habits can be
so hard.
Yeah.
It takes real effort.
Definitely.
He says to start by just taking stock. What are you actually doing every day? Are your habits moving you forward, or are they holding you back?
Okay, so an honest look at your day-to-day.
An honest audit, yeah.
I'm thinking, for me, hitting the snooze button 3 times every morning, probably not the best if I'm trying to get to the gym before work.
Yeah, maybe not the best start to the day. So you've identified the habit you want to change.
Right.
Now you got to get a little strategic. Okay, snooze button is the enemy.
It is my enemy.
Put your alarm across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off.
Oh, man. I tried that once. I outsmarted myself, started putting it in places that were just a little too easy to reach.
Maybe you need someone to hide it from you.
I think I do.
And you got to make that positive choice, the easy choice.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then once I get out of bed on time, I'm more likely to make it to the gym, and then I start the day feeling energized.
See, it's a chain reaction of good habits.
I love that.
Okay, building on that momentum, Shin also talks about discipline.
Okay.
You know, that feeling of pushing forward, even when things get tough. He compares it to riding against the waves.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
They're constantly paddling forward, even when you get knocked down. And discipline. It's not about being perfect. You're going to mess up sometimes.
Right.
But you got to have that resilience to just get back on track.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like a muscle.
Yes.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. So don't try to change everything at once. That could be so overwhelming.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely me.
Start small. Pick one thing you want to work on and focus on that.
Okay.
Once you've got that down, you can add something else.
Be kind to myself. Change takes time.
It does. It's not a race.
Yeah.
And remember, what works for one person might not work for another.
Right. We're all different.
Some people need a strict routine, and some people need a little more flexibility, experiment a little, you know.
Okay, so we've got automation, optimizing our habits, building discipline. What else can we do to stay consistent?
So remember how both Hilario and Shen talked about tracking progress?
Yeah, it's more than just checking things off a list, right?
Right. Remember Hilario's girlfriend?
Fall in love with the process.
Yeah. When you're tracking, you can actually see how far you've come,
Oh,
even if it feels slow.
it's like a little pat on the back for all that hard work.
And when you hit those roadblocks, it can be really motivating because you know you're making progress.
Yeah, it keeps you accountable too.
Totally. Because if you're not tracking, it's easy to let things slide.
And make excuses.
Yeah. But if you're tracking, you can see those patterns.
And make changes.
Exactly. You know, like if you're always struggling to work out in the evenings, maybe try mornings instead.
Okay.
Or if you keep getting distracted when you're trying to work, maybe you find a different environment or try working in shorter bursts. You're using that data to make smarter choices.
So you're like constantly refining your approach. Okay, I like that.
All about learning as you go, becoming a student of your own, you know.
Process.
Yeah.
And it's not about like blaming yourself for past mistakes, but using those to get better.
Okay, so let's talk about one more tool. Visual reminders.
Ooh, yeah.
Shen is all about those, you know, anything that keeps your goals front and center.
Yeah, he talks about vision boards or motivational quotes or progress charts, whatever works for you. I have a vision board, and I love just glancing at it throughout the day.
And they're great for when you feel tempted to stray off track.
Okay, yeah.
Like if you're trying to eat healthy, having a bowl of fruit on the counter is more enticing than a bag of chips hidden in the pantry.
Oh, that's a good point. Or, like, if you're saving up for a big trip, you could put a picture of your destination as your phone background.
Yeah. That way, you'll think twice before making those impulse purchases. You're surrounding yourself with these little reminders.
I like that. Cheerleaders for your dreams.
Exactly. Now, here's a piece of advice from both Shen and Hilario.
Okay.
And it can be really tough to do this one.
Hit me with it. Is it like facing your fears? Conquering procrastination?
It's learning to say no.
Yeah, I knew it.
I know.
It's so much easier to say yes to everything.
But you can't do everything. Shen actually says trying to accomplish too many things at once can be overwhelming and counterproductive.
Yeah, you end up spreading yourself too thin.
Right. It's about prioritizing. What really matters? What are your goals?
Okay, yeah. But it's hard to say no. You don't want to disappoint people or feel like you're missing out.
I totally get that. But you have to remember, every time you say yes to something,
You're saying no to something else.
exactly, sometimes the most productive thing you can do is say no to things that don't serve you.
And it's okay to set those boundaries, right?
It's crucial. It's not selfish. It's about protecting your time and energy.
Which brings us to another, like, seemingly counterintuitive piece of advice, especially in our super productivity-focused world.
Okay, what's up?
Prioritizing self-care.
Oh, I love that they both brought this up.
Me too.
It's not just about, treating yourself. It's about investing in your well-being.
Because, like we've been saying, you can't.
Pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. You can't give your best if you're running on empty.
All right, Shen actually says, think about it. If you're running on empty, you won't be able to give your best to your goals.
Makes total sense.
It's all connected.
Yeah, it is. And it's not just about achieving those goals.
It's about living a good life.
Yes. And that means taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're wrapping up this part of our deep dive.
Okay.
And I just want to reiterate, self-care can look different for everyone.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
It might be getting enough sleep or exercising or spending time in nature or connecting with people you care about. What matters is you're taking care of yourself, mentally and physically.
Yeah, you're listening to your body and your mind.
Okay, so we talked about automation, habits, discipline, progress tracking, those visual cues saying no, prioritizing self-care. We've covered
Much. Like a whole toolbox.
yeah, toolbox for reaching those goals.
And you don't have to do everything perfectly or all at once.
No, just pick one or two things.
Start small.
And remember, those small changes
Lead to big results.
over time, it all adds up. And be kind to yourself. It's a journey.
It is.
There will be setbacks, but you just got to keep learning, keep adapting, and celebrate the wins.
I love that.
You've got this.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork. In part 3, we're going to talk about putting it all together and making a plan that actually works.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's turn those insights into action.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into achieving those long-term goals.
Time to put it all together.
I know, right? We've gotten so much great advice from Jesus Hilario and Ray Shen.
Yeah, they gave us a lot to think about.
They did, and now I'm like, ready to take action.
Me too. Let's make it happen.
All right, so how do we actually translate all this amazing advice into real results? Where do we start?
Well, I think the first step is to go back to those goals. Like, what are the big dreams that you're chasing? The things that really excite you.
Yeah, like that big picture stuff. Maybe it's writing a book or starting a business or finally learning to play the guitar.
Exactly. It's all about connecting with that sense of purpose. Why are we doing all of this?
Okay, so once we have that clear vision, what's next?
Then it's time to break those big goals down. Remember Shen's advice about setting SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Oh, yeah, the SMART goals. I think sometimes I forget about that.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the big dream and forget about the steps it takes to get there.
It's like trying to climb Mount Everest in one giant leap, right?
Yeah,
You need to set up those base camps along the way.
exactly. Each smaller goal becomes a stepping stone. And as you achieve each one, you build momentum and confidence.
Okay, that makes it seem a lot less daunting, breaking it down like that.
Now, as you're thinking about those smaller goals, I want you to think back to the strategies we talked about.
Okay.
Which ones really stood out to you? Which ones do you think you could realistically start using right now?
Ooh, good question. I'm definitely feeling the automation thing. Anything to save time and mental energy.
Love it. Automation for the win.
And I know we talked about it a lot, but prioritizing self-care feels really important.
It is. It's the foundation.
It is, like you said.
And remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Pick one or two strategies that feel manageable.
Yeah, just start small.
Build from there.
And those small, consistent actions,
They add up over time.
they really do.
Okay, so now you're implementing those strategies.
Right.
Remember, consistency is key. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. It's about making it a part of your routine.
And celebrating those small wins.
Yes. Don't forget to acknowledge your progress. It's so motivating.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. What's one small step you can take today to start building that consistency muscle and move closer to your goals?
Ooh, that's a good one. Maybe it's setting up that automatic bill pay, or cleaning off your desk, or going for a walk.
Or even just writing down your top 3 priorities for the day.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be a big thing.
Just one small action that gets you moving in the right direction.
And remember, the first step is always the hardest.
But once you take it,
The next one gets easier.
and then
Before you know it, you're well on your way.
you really are. And as you're taking those steps, remember that you have the power to create the life you want.
You do.
It starts with setting those goals, believing in yourself, and taking action.
And don't forget to find your people. Surround yourself with those who support you and believe in your dreams,
That's so important, having that community of support.
especially when things get tough.
It can make all the difference. Okay, so as we end this deep dive into achieving long-term goals, I want you to walk away feeling hopeful.
Yes, hopeful and empowered.
You have the tools and the strategies and the support to make those dreams happen. Believe in yourself
Take those steps.
and enjoy the journey.
That's what it's all about.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you learned something.
Remember, it's a journey. Embrace the process, celebrate those wins, learn from the setbacks, and keep going.
You've got this. We believe in you.
That's it for this deep dive. See you next time. So you're ready to